is, of course, the king of violence. He once again defended that crown this past weekend with another finish, a brutal finish over Jeremy Stevens. It is always my great pleasure to speak to the one, the only, the platinum, Mike Perry. Mike, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Damon, how are you?
I'm fantastic, man. Congratulations on another win, another classic Mike Perry performance. Man, it was so good to have you back in BKFC. It felt like it had been way too long.
It was good to be back. I had a lot of fun in there. Jeremy was tough, he met the occasion and but he was too tough for his own good at times. So, some people were saying like the Rocky movie, throw the dang towel after like the second knockdown. But that's props to Jeremy. And you know, just happy to be back on the road of recovery and getting my health in order and get myself back on a diet and in shape.
Absolutely. We knew going into the fight, Mike, like, Jeremy was obviously coming up in weight to challenge you. And a lot of the thing that's happened in some of your BKFC fights is guys just like once they get hit by you, it's like it's a different world. We saw it. I know it always comes up to Luke Perry fight. You hit him a couple of times, it's like, okay, this is a different kind of battle. Were you impressed that Jeremy did actually trade with you? He actually stuck around there. Like he caught you. I think very early in the first round was probably the biggest cleanest punch he landed. But outside of that, like he stuck around. And as you said, maybe too tough for his own good. But at least he stuck in there. Some guys are not willing to stick in there with you.
Yeah, it came to a point when he was just looking for survival, but he still landed that right hand all the way to the end. There was just no combinations from him. He couldn't put, two consecutive shots together, just be one big right hand. And, you know, I don't know what the heck I was doing, not getting out of the way of that thing more often, but I guess it's easy when I just lift the shoulder. It doesn't bother me too much, and I know that eventually that stance that I'm holding is gonna have them dipping into some stuff that they're not gonna like. So
Yeah. Was there in that final round? I mean, it was six knockdowns total. In that final round, you put him down several times. Was there ever a moment when you're like, "Why is the referee not stopping this?" Because I mean, he was dropping like you'd hit him and he'd drop, and then he'd get up, they give him the 10 count, he'd go again. You hit him a couple more times, he'd go right back down again. Like, was there ever a moment you're like, "All right, enough's enough"? Like they did eventually stop it, but there was a couple moments where like they could probably call it off now.
no, I kind of only had the thought of like, well, what if I tried to box more or like move away more or get out of the way more? Uh, I just felt like the fight wouldn't happen as much if I did that. So I continued to go forward and push for the finish all the way until it was over. So, you know, Jeremy was tough for running away and ducking into that. I know a lot of that stuff landed right on point. And I kind of looked at the ref at the end and was like, uh, "Come on, like, what do you want me to do?" So, uh, it's a very fitting king of violence. To win that fight, it was good. I think Jeremy's doing all right. I sent him a video. He sent me one back. Uh, Shoot, my bike was a little tight, so things happen, and we're just trying to get our lives together now.
Yeah. Was it good to just go out there and kind of remind the world who you are? Because obviously, like you took that opportunity last year when you had the Jake Paul fight, went out there and battled him in boxing and did a tremendous job fighting a much bigger, taller guy like a Jake Paul. But then obviously you started your promotion, Dirty Boxing. You kind of been out of the ring for a little while. Did it kind of feel good to go back in there and just kind of like remind people who Mike Perry is? And as we say, I say it constantly. You probably get sick of hearing me say it. You were made for this sport, and this sport was made for you.
Thank you. It's you know, I'm blessed to be strong and courageous, and I want to instill values into those who can look up to me. And um with all the work and effort that I put into the camp and everything, I was very happy to show that no matter what anyone said online, they obviously didn't know me or what I'm capable of, and you know, I don't hate on people. I believe in people. I believe that other people can do cool things, and I'm just trying to figure out where everything lines up at. So, with I got many ventures: dirty boxing, bare knuckle fighting, platinum tequila, overdogs podcast, and there's nothing like that fight night though. That BKFC money, boy.
I gotta ask you about your post-fight interview, Mike. Of course, you dropped the famous line, the Conor McGregor line, which had me rolling. I was dying. Did you always have that planned, or was that just in the moment you thought of that? Because it was perfect. It was so with Conor in the ring, it was like literally the perfect post-fight interview.
And I think I thought about that on the catwalk when I was walking out there. I was like, what if I said, I apologize to absolutely nobody? And considering I planned on getting to the end of that, I like to think about this. I may have heard it on Joe Rogan. Someone said a Gracie was like, we don't make plans after the fight because there's no telling, what's gonna happen, how's it gonna go. And I think about that a lot, but then it's like you gotta prepare to be the winner for sure. You have to prepare for it. And yeah, I just figured couldn't let I thought it was respect to Connor. You look at your post fight speech that one time was so great. I can use it right now. And it makes a lot of sense because what we're doing is we're promoting the company no matter what anyone says. A lot of people seem to have opinions on the subject of the verbals between me and him. And it's between, kind of me and him, and everyone else has an opinion on it. And it's like, oh, I would do this or I would do that. And I'm like, well, you know, he's obviously getting the attention that we deserved in bare knuckle, and me as well. I mean, it's my fights that go, starstruck. They go crazy. It was fun, and I hope everyone enjoyed the show. On to the next one. We're gonna keep it moving down the road.
100%. Can I ask Mike, like, what is your like? How do you wrap your head around Connor? And what I mean by that is like in the pre-fight, like just like when you did the announcement, they had the big BKFC press conference, and he's like, "You're gonna dance for me. You're gonna dance for me." And then the pre-fight, he's like, "You better go out and impress me. You're gone." Then post-fight, he's very respectful. We all understand promotion, right? Like that's part of the sport. Like you got to say the things, and it's kind of fun. And let's be honest, those moments go viral. People go crazy when they see you interact with Connor. But then after the fight, it seems very respectful. He laughed when you had that post-fight interview. Like, how do you balance that? Because and I'm not even talking about fighting him. I'm just talking about like in the pre-fight, almost like there's just it feels like there's so much animosity. But then afterwards, like he does show you respect, and it seems like you understand the promotion side of it. So how do you balance that in your head when you deal with Connor?
Yeah. Well, business is business, and you know, uh, if it's making money, then we can use it. If we want to get angry, I mean that can happen too. Connor carries himself strong, and he'll explain things like he didn't just yell at me one way. It's confusing too sometimes. He'll yell at me and then he'll be like, you know kind of talk at a normal voice to me, so it's like it makes sense more. And then it's like he'll yell at me again or make a joke, but I said some shit too. He is just witty, and in life you can't really hit someone first. You can't, or you're going to get in trouble in the courts or something. So you got to be the one to say the thing that's mean enough to make the other person punch you in the face first.
If there was one criticism after the fight, Mike, and it wasn't towards you, of course, but like I'm a big believer in, like, when you win a big fight like that, you should be able to enjoy it and celebrate it, right? Like, you just achieved something. You knocked out a guy in Jeremy Stevens. You won a fight. Like, those are all great things. And a lot of people I saw online, there were people complaining, saying it was disrespectful of Conor to say you need to be a champion, bringing in Dave Mundell. And it's kind of like your moment, right? Like, it's your moment in the spotlight. Like, you've earned this moment. You just went out and knocked out. I think it's, a guy who's been around the sport, a legend in a lot of ways. And then a lot of people said I thought it was disrespectful. He like made this big deal about the title and tried to bring in Dave Mundell. How did you, like? I know you reacted to it in the moment. You handled it like a pro, but like, how did you? Now that it's all said and done, like, did you feel that was out of bounds to like bring that on you like right after you won a fight, or did it matter to you?
No, I have to be in that zone. And, of course, whatever he could do to get the sight off of him fighting me in a bare knuckle ring or to someone, I mean, he has a point. A world title. That's who got that world title in that organization, around the same time that I was creating my own lane in the sport. And coming in as the bigger fighter, the bigger name who's had more entertaining and exciting fights throughout their career, like myself, uh, having had fought Mundell twice in MMA, made myself famous in MMA, and then came over and had the boxing skills in bare knuckle. And, you know, I Christine's got the world title. I get what he's getting at. I said I would do it. I fought the guy twice, and if he's earned that shot again, well, I gotta shoot him down again.
It's funny. I talked to Dave Feldman a couple of days ago, and I asked him about it. I asked him about the interest in that, and he said, "I get it. Like, I understand the interest in Mike becoming a world champion." But he said, and he was honest. He's like, "But if you go out there and knock out Dave Mundell and become a champion, then fighting the next guy, if it's not a big enough name, he's like, listen, Mike gets paid well, and you do, and I'm glad they pay you well. But he's like, it's hard to justify putting Mike in there with some no-name guy or a guy that people just don't know about versus trying to book you against Eddie Alvarez, Luke Rockhold. I know we're going to talk about Darren Till. Like, he's like, got to be honest, those are just bigger fights. Like, do you agree with that? Like, I understand like the point of the world championship, but there's a point. I understand what he's saying. Like, you're Mike Perry, you're the star of BKFC, and you're the A side, by the way. You are the A side, but like, you want a guy on the other side of the ring that's going to sell it, that's going to like give you something back, right?
Well, I think the Darren Till fight is a fight that could make sense. It's definitely a bigger name, and you know, a big fighter. And this guy has a fight coming up as well. So like, those are the two champions that I've talked about. 175, 185. They're fighting each other. So, if eventually I keep, blowing shit up in the sport, it's like, yeah, you gotta kind of give me the world title if you want the sport to mean anything. And um but also those world titles are fighting, and Darren Till's a big fight. He's doing well in boxing. To have a boxer and MMA fighter, and we finally make that fight, and he comes over and does the bare knuckle. These other guys are trying to fight me. They're like, you, like Dylan Dennis. He's like, oh, we're gonna do MMA first. I'm like, I would do MMA. I would go back to MMA. I want to fight on the USA UFC White House card. Who's more American than Platinum Mike Perry? So let's go. I need a little training, healing time, because that was 12 weeks. That was 12 weeks of performance on October 4th. So, I got to get back in the flow of things.
It's funny, you fought a guy in Jeremy Stevens who obviously went out there and beat Eddie Alvarez, super impressive win, and then he does. He goes back to the UFC for one fight. They were holding the card in Iowa. It was cool, right? Like, give him a chance to fight in his hometown. So you're saying, like, if the opportunity was there, even if it's just like a one fight thing, you would go back to the UFC for that White House card.
Yeah, that would be a cool one to do it on. And y'all got to pay me for that too. But like, come on now. Conor talking about 100 mil to get on the White House card. Well, give me like a couple. I'll be good.
You've definitely earned that. You've definitely earned a couple million, more than a couple million, I think, at this point.
Hey, man, I'm just grateful, and got to figure out what to do with all of it, how to do it, and we just keep it going.
When you came into BKFC day one and started making yourself who you are, and I think I think the moment you transcended from like this could be great for Mike Perry to like superstar Mike Perry is when you beat Michael Venom Page, that sixth round. Everyone remembers that moment you win in that fight. And then since then, you've just gone out there and decimated your opponents. And as I said, you are now the A side. Like, when you go out there, Mike Perry is the A side. But I'm curious, in a perfect world, you're playing promoter, you're playing matchmaker. Like, what is the dream? Is there a dream opponent for Mike Perry? Like, we always talk about the Conor fight. I think we all know that would be massive. And Dave Feldman said I think that'd be one of the 5 biggest fights in combat sports history. And I don't disagree. I think it would be an insanely huge fight. But we also know Conor is still under UFC contract, probably not going anywhere for at least a little while. So is there a dream? Like if you're like, man, I would just love to punch that dude with a bare knuckle. Is there one guy out there that like just stands above the rest, like a dream Mike Perry fight?
Wow. And bare knuckle? Oh my gosh. There's these guys that said that they won't do it bare knuckle. And to see someone tough enough, because like I get pretty high level in there in that bare knuckle fight. Like there's things I know that you can tell other people don't know. And I mean that's a tough question. I think of names when you ask me. I'm like, Nate Diaz, Masvidal, there's Darren Till, who, they don't have, well, Darren Till don't have experience bare knuckle that we haven't seen at the club, and no kicking. So, Nate Diaz and Masvidal both have experience bare knuckle. They'd rather skip out on the bare knuckle aspect. And, man, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, man, who we got? T Bud Crawford, Alexander Usyk, Anthony Joshua, well, he's a little big, he's a little heavy. Jake Paul. To fight Jake Paul bare knuckle after you beat me in boxing, you know what I mean? And like we should do like 195, and I'm gonna come in there like 189. That sounds close. I don't know. I gotta be more lean, more fast, and less weight on my body.
Yeah. Well, I think there are options. I mean, I think we're all going to look at the Darren Till fight as the one. I remember I talked to Darren 2 fights ago. I asked him about it, and he admitted it. He's like, I'm a little hesitant to do bare knuckle because of the damage. But I said, when was the last time you got into bare knuckle fight? And he's like, last weekend. He got into a bar fight. So he does bare knuckle, just not. Okay. He wasn't even getting paid for it.
Well, it's not going to be the same thing as in the ring with me, and he's a little bigger, and I think I'll be able to find, we got to figure out that weight class. What weight class is that? 185? I'll do that. And, I think I'll have some angles there, but I'll put shots together on the way in, angles, and, I can hurt people bare knuckle. So just a matter of time till we find out what's going to happen. Mr. Feldman told me, it's looking later, and so I just got to work on myself right now, and I get to talk about the game. I get to stay in the polls, talking about combat sports, man. What's to come? So, there we go.
The future is bright, though. The future is bright. Whatever you do is going to be a big fight. Maybe the White House card, maybe something else. But whatever Mike Perry does, it's going to make headlines. You made it this last weekend. And I would love to see you fight Darren Till. I'd love to see you fight Nate Diaz. I'd love to see you fight Jorge Masvidal. But just like, I think it was the Thiago Alves fight, like just getting someone to finally say yes. Like everyone talks, who's actually going to say yes? And not everyone will talk publicly, but when the offer comes in, they don't always say yes when Mike Perry's the other name on the end of that contract.
Bare knuckle, they don't want that, bro. They don't want that, bro. I'm about it in there with that shit. Really.
I
It's
love
gonna
it.
be it's gonna be fun. I wonder who it's gonna be.
Options. There are options. So hopefully they find you somebody good.
Cheers, man. Good to see you,
Well,
Damon. I appreciate your time.
absolutely, Mike. Well, I appreciate you as always, man. Congratulations again on another amazing victory. Like I said, it's so good to have you back in this sport again. Listen, I'd love to see you go out there and fight Jake Paul. And, like I said, I'd love to see you do the White House. That'd be awesome too. But I'd love to see a BKFC, man. You just take over that sport. When you fight, it's special. It was special on Saturday. And I mean, no disrespect whatsoever, but it felt like you had the biggest fight of the weekend. And that's knowing there was a UFC card that weekend too. Like Mike Perry's fight was the biggest fight of the weekend. So, man, keep doing what you're doing, man. Congrats on all your success. And look forward to see what's coming for you in 2026.
All right, man. I mean, we still got to finish the year off strong. I'm gonna find a way to do that.
You got your
2025, we still here.
You got your dirty boxing card coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah, in Nashville, man. October 30th in Nashville, Dirty Boxing DBX4. So that'll be a good one.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, it's always a pleasure, man. I appreciate the time and look forward to catching up again in the near future.
Thank you.